Pedro from A&P-REACTS. I'm here with Waltteri from Paradise Lost. How's it going, bro?
It's all good. Despite the crazy world situation at the moment, I'm doing fine. So
I know it feels like when we met you in Finland, in Helsinki last summer. It seems like an eternity ago.
yeah, was it last summer? Yeah.
Yeah. So
Right.
it is technically an eternity ago, but with this whole virus and quarantine, it just feels like time is extended even longer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I know what you mean.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Uh, I don't even know where to start as far as this new album from Paradise Lost is concerned. I don't think there's enough adjectives in the English vocabulary for me to tell you how good this record is and how much I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me about this album.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure.
First question, I guess I have to start with the simplest thing is how do you approach recording drums for a Paradise Lost album, specifically for this one?
Well, first of all, when the songs are in the demo phase, I sort of practice everything with my electronic kit and record some ideas and sort of compose my own drum parts with the electronic kit, and then me and Greg, the songwriter, we sort of send ideas back and forth, and that's how my drum parts sort of come together. And when I hit the studio, when I actually start recording the drums, I already know exactly what I'm gonna do. So it's a lot easier to be 100% prepared when you actually hit the studio. Yeah, that's pretty much how it goes.
Yeah, you don't feel like going in and just working the kinks out once you're in there. It's not very productive for you. You rather have like a little bit of your homework done beforehand.
Yeah, exactly. And well, with this album especially, it was pretty much for all of us. It was just like in and out going to the studio. So I didn't even see the other guys when I was recording my drums, and just flew back to Finland right after I was finished with my
Wow. That's busy scheduling, I guess, for everybody.
Yeah, exactly. But that's how it works nowadays. It's like you don't really have to be in the same space with all of the band members in order to make the album.
Yeah, everybody knows their part.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you approach this record differently than you did Medusa, or was the same approach for both records?
I think Medusa was, I'd say it's pretty much more or less a pure doom metal record. So obviously all the drum sounds and how I approach the songs, it was different, I would say. Like with Medusa, I was kind of trying to be more like a caveman with the drums, and with this new record, it's drumming wise, it's a bit more technical, and there's a lot more details going on. And I would say it's a bit more modern as well.
Do you feel like this record is perhaps one of their most diverse records to date?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say, especially compared to the last album, this one is it's a lot more diverse and varied. I mean, there's a lot of different styles going on. There's goth stuff and there's doom stuff, and like you said, it feels like greatest hits of Paradise Lost in a way. Like it goes through all the band's eras in the same album. It's a pretty good way to describe it.
Yeah, to me, I had that vibe from the beginning, from the moment I started listening to it. It's you guys created a greatest hits without being a greatest hits, which to me it's the perfect solution, because you put out new music, new record, new songs, but it has a little bit of the DNA of the band from the beginning all the way to the last album up until this one.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's catchy choruses, and there's very melodic songs, as well as really heavy doomy songs and really dark stuff. So yeah, it's a pretty diverse album altogether, I would say.
I felt that overall, when you look at the big picture of the record, it doesn't necessarily feel like a super heavy album. But from a drum, I'm talking about from a drums perspective, but there's so many different layers, there's so many different approaches. You had to take so many different paths depending on what the song called for. Is that something that you enjoy, that you don't have to work on a record that just has the same vibe, the same path, the same sound all the way through?
I don't know, it depends. Like with this one, we did a lot of experiment with the sounds, with the drum sounds in the studio. Like this, I think there's 3 or 4 different snares used on this album, depending on the vibe of the song. And I like that kind of stuff, like trying out different ideas for different songs and different sounds.
Did it take you a long time to record your drums for this record, more than usual or about the same?
I think with this one, it took me a little bit more than with Medusa, just because I was super picky about my takes. And yeah, I wasn't as as happy as I'm usually with my playing. But then in the end, I think we got it. But I don't know, altogether it took like, I don't know, 3 or 4 days to nail everything down. So it didn't take that long, but still.
Yeah. And was there a specific song that you struggled with?
I think Ending Days, the song that has this this
Violin.
military type of snare drum pattern. I think that was the hardest one to nail, to be honest. And
sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
No.
I was just going to say that's one of my favorite songs on the album. So it's funny that song has just so many different things going on within itself. Has a very particular sound to it. You know, it's just a really interesting track all around. So it's funny that one is the one that gave you the most trouble, because that's one of the ones that I immediately gravitated towards.
Yeah, it's a great song. I absolutely love it. But just coming up with the drum parts and trying to nail it was a bit of a challenge to me, to be honest. But in the end, I got it, I think so.
I know you don't play violins, but what did you think of the violins on that track?
I think they're absolutely amazing. They weren't there on the demo version, so when I heard the finished album version, I was like, wow, bloody amazing.
Yeah.
And they're real violins, so it's not like some MIDI keyboard stuff.
That song, like I said, there's so many layers. The drums, the violins, the vocals, the whole approach of that track is just absolutely phenomenal. Like I just, man, like the whole album. But I thought the violins really added a little bit of an extra flavor to that track.
Definitely, yeah, I agree.
Well, when you listen to the finished product, did you have a sense of how good this record is, or you were so involved in the process that you're like, it's a great album, but I've done other great albums before?
No, I mean, with this one, I definitely once I heard the finished product, I thought like, fucking hell, this is gonna be something great, and it's definitely the record that I'm most proud of that I've ever been a part of, I would say. But I mean, by now I've heard the album probably around 100 times, so I can't really see the forest from the trees anymore, if you may. But yeah, it's a great album, I would say.
Yeah, I picture in my mind you guys listening to the album when it's done and just like doing a mic drop and walking out of the room like, okay, like this is the greatest, just like walking out, because it's such a diverse, it's such a dynamic record that, like I said, it really encompasses the history of the band, but it presented almost with a new sound, with a new flavor.
Yeah, exactly. Like you can definitely hear some influences from the past, like the early PL albums, but still with a fresh touch. It feels like a fresh album. It's not like all just for the sake of nostalgia or whatever.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like you guys were rehashing something that was done before. It still has that fresh feel to it.
Yeah.
Did that thought process go in mind when you guys approached the making of this record? How does Paradise Lost as a band approach a creation of the record? Like, you guys sit together, exchange ideas. How does it work?
Pretty much, it's all like virtual sending emails, and just because we all live in different places. I live in Finland, and even the guys, they live in UK, but they live in different places. So we never actually get together and go to rehearsal space to try out some ideas. It's all done by emails and just sending ideas that way. Well, it works fine for us, and yeah.
You said you were very critical of your work. Do you bounce ideas off of other people when you're recording in the studio, or do you have a sense of what you know you can do and what the song calls for, so that you know how to get to it? Or it's always nice to have somebody that, hey, what do you think of this? If I did this way, could have been better.
Of course, like when you work on certain stuff for such a long time, you can't. I mean, of course, you have an idea if it sounds good or not, but then it's nice to have someone to tell me their opinions about it, and that way I can like properly say like if we agree on something or not. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice to have somebody to bounce off some ideas, I guess.
Oh.
With this pandemic happening and you guys releasing a brand new album, was there any thought process in pushing the date back, waiting maybe a couple of months or something along those lines, so that you could perhaps see the light at the end of the tunnel and therefore be able to hit the road, promote the record? Or this was the date that was kind of set and you guys decided to stay with it?
I think the label actually suggested postponing the record, but we thought like, no, we want to release it now, because I mean it's already miserable as it is, that situation.
Yeah.
So why would it make sense to postpone it till later on, because nobody knows how long this situation is gonna go on. So I think in a way it's a good time to release the album right now, because I think the fans are eager to hear it, and most of all they have time to listen to it probably now. So yeah, for us, I don't think it would make sense to postpone it. So I'm pretty happy we kept the original release date, and whenever this situation goes over, then of course we'll be back on the road to promote the record, and I hope people will be excited to come back to the shows and see the new songs live whenever it happens. But of course, we don't know how long that.
I don't think that's going to be a problem. Once you guys announce the tour and things are safe for people to go out to a show, I think the problem perhaps is going to be a huge amount of bands doing the same thing, because everybody's itching to get back on the road. But I don't think you guys are going to have a hard time getting people to come out to see you guys perform and play songs off of this new record, because I really feel like this album is going to resonate with the fans of the band.
Yeah, I hope so too.
What are you guys going to do in the meantime now? The album comes out May 15th, and are you guys planning on doing, like, for example, for yourself, are you planning on doing maybe some drum playthroughs, some videos like that, something to stay connected with the fans throughout this period? Is anything in the works?
Yeah, I've been thinking about doing stuff like that, definitely. Like, because we can't, as a band, we can't do a live stream concert, because like I said, I live in Helsinki and the other guys live in UK, and the borders are closed. So at the moment, at least, it's pretty impossible to do that. But instead of a live stream show, there will be definitely something like I can do my drum playthrough videos here and stuff like that. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's an interesting time, right? Everybody's at home. I think you guys are doing the right thing, releasing the album now. I mean, for you guys to sit on a record that's already finished, that cannot be easy either.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, already it feels a long time since we finished the recording. So if it would get postponed till autumn or whatever next year, I don't know. It would feel like an eternity.
Yeah. When did you guys finish the recording of the album?
I think it was like November, December last year. So it's already like more or less 6 months since we finished it.
Yeah, it seems like it's the right time, in my opinion. At least it's the right time. People are sitting at home; they have nothing to do. At least now they'll have a new Paradise Lost album to listen to. And if you guys put out some videos, some things like that, like playthroughs, all of that stuff, that allows fans to stay connected. I think it's a winning formula right now. At least it's the best you guys can do, considering all the circumstances.
Yeah, exactly.
And how are you keeping some of your sanity stuck in the house? You already heard the album 100 times. Are you going to listen to the album 101 time, 102? What are you going to do?
I mean, usually whenever I record drums for an album, once the album is finished, I tend to listen to it like countless of times for months. But then pretty much after the album's released, then I usually never go back to it unless I'm rehearsing to it or whatever. Because it's pretty weird in a way listening to your own stuff. Of course, like after you finish the album, of course you want to hear it, and it's always a rewarding feeling to hear the finished product and sort of think like, yeah, fuck yeah, this sounds good.
Yeah, knowing that you had a hand in the creation of that, it's rewarding.
Yeah, of course.
As you look, let's look a little bit into the future. I really want to ask you this because based on the record, I'm just wondering where your mind is going to go with this. Looking into the future, tour dates, touring, is there songs on this record that you feel like will play really well in a live setting, or is there some songs that you're hoping the guys don't pick to be on the set list because they give you a hard time in the studio?
Actually, we are planning to do an album release show later this year in September. That's still going on as planned, but the plan is to play all the songs live of the album, but that's going to be the only time. So at least we see, then we'll see which songs work live and which don't. But it's definitely fun to at least try out every song and see how it goes. But on the album tour, when we get to do it sometime, I think there will be like, I don't know, at least 4 or 5 songs of the album in the live set.
Yeah, the release show is interesting too because we'll give you guys a chance to see the reaction from the audience and maybe help you guys decide which one make it to the set list and which ones don't.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm really hoping Ending Days makes it to the set list.
It would be a really good live song.
Yeah, I mean, you perhaps will be like cringing every single time you have to play it, but it may take you back into a bad place in your memory of when you recorded it. But I think it's a great track, and I think it would work really well in a live setting.
Yeah, I mean, I think now it wouldn't be an issue since I recorded on the album, and now I know how to play it. But there was a bit of pain, to be honest.
Since you're stuck in Finland, a little bit outside of Paradise Lost, since you're stuck in Finland, are you working on any other projects right now, or you can travel outside of the country, but you can still go to the studio. You can still move around within Finland.
Yeah,
Working.
I just joined the new band of Alexi Laiho called Bottom After Midnight, which is a band that came after Children of Bodom quit last year. So that's what I've been doing for the past few months. Because everybody lives in Helsinki from that band, so at least we can rehearse here and plan on some new stuff. So it's good to have something to do at the moment. But with that band as well, we had planned a couple of festival shows for this summer, so it really sucks that we can't sort of introduce the band in a live situation now. So we'll see when that will happen.
You guys kill me. Like you needed another band. You're not busy enough. You know what I mean? Like you needed. Let me add one more band. And I'm not complaining. I mean, it is a great lineup. You guys really put together a solid lineup. It's like an all-star cast. But I feel like there's room for one more band.
Well, I mean, at the moment I have PL and this new Bottom After Midnight band, and on top of that, I've done quite a lot of live shows with Bloodbath as well, filling in for Martin from OPEF because he's been so busy with OPEF, and there's been some schedule clashes. So I think when we start playing shows again, there will be a few Bloodbath shows every now and then as well that I'll be playing. So.
Wasn't there a North American tour? I thought you guys were scheduled to play North America.
Yeah, that was going to happen. Yeah, it was going to happen at the end of this month, but I don't see that happening.
Yeah. I remember seeing the announcement.
It's definitely going to be rescheduled for later on as well. So we'll see.
And with this new project, I have to ask you this question. I know you guys already, I believe you guys were booked for some summer festivals, like you said, especially in Finland. You guys had some appearances already announced. With this whole thing being put aside, are you guys still working on material, looking at a release date for some new material?
We're working on it at the moment.
The politically correct answer. We're working on it. We're working on it. Okay. I won't bug you anymore about that, but I just really want to thank you for your time today to chat with me about Obsidian from Paradise Lost. Great album, really great album, and your work on it was absolutely phenomenal. I felt that how can I put it this way? Perhaps everything that you did on this album will go unnoticed because people will concentrate on the vocal approach, on the overall atmosphere that the record has. Definitely the vocals, because to me that was really dynamic on this record, different styles, different approaches. But the work that you did, the diversity of sound as far as the drums are concerned that you brought to the record, you cannot have that eclectic historic path of going of releasing, like I said, a greatest hits album without being a greatest hits, without you doing the work that you did, because you really were one of the most diverse elements within the record that really allows the album to have that past and that present sound to it.
Right. I'm so glad to hear that, man. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Yeah, I think you deserve to hear it, because when people look at these albums, and specifically this one, I think when it comes out, I don't see too many people talking about the bass player or the drummer, or everybody's going to concentrate on how doomy the riff was, or on how the vocal approach, how good it was on this track, that track, the atmosphere, the violins, all of these things is going to be what people are going to be concentrating on, because that's perhaps more in the forefront. You guys are like the unsung heroes that are in the background doing all the heavy lifting. You know what I mean? Because the album, with you guys created the path that everything else then goes on that road and goes down that path. And to me, when I was listening to this album, I was like, wow. While, like I said earlier, while I don't feel like this album is super heavy from a drums perspective, it's so eclectic. It goes in so many different directions, and that to me was kudos to you for being able to pull it off.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. It's yeah. Thanks for your kind words, man.
No problem. You deserve it. You deserve it. Once again, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate you sitting down and chatting about the record with me for a little bit. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you around. If not on tour in North America when this whole thing stops, maybe the next time I come to Finland, you're in town and we'll chat again.
Yeah, exactly, man. Yeah. It was a pleasure to talk to you, man, and stay safe as well and take care, man.
Thank you.